Greetings, dear viewers. We are happy to welcome you at the Creative Society channel. This discussion is dedicated to the International Forum, Global Crisis, We Are People, We Want to Live, that took place on May 7th. This event was simultaneously interpreted to 100 languages and streamed live on thousands of online channels and platforms. All of these was done by volunteers to share the easy solution with all people, because we all care about the future of our kids, your kids, and society as a whole. The truth was voiced during the forum, and this is the information that can help to build a society of our dreams, the creative society. Stay with us, and today we'll dive deeper into the topic that was discussed in the forum and hear from our guests why the information they heard inspired them to speak and share it.
It is no longer a secret that the current consumerist format of our society is not working out for 99% of population. Inflation, low salary jobs, unaffordable healthcare, educational crises, divisions, violence, war, you name it. And among all this, climate is raging and claiming millions of lives already today. You might be thinking that you cannot do anything about it. But today, during this international discussion, we will speak about the simple solution to all of our problems. And I'm honored to introduce you to our guest today. Today with us, we have Huma Kirmani from Pakistan. She is a TEDx speaker, honorary member of United Nations of Pakistan, author and human rights advocate. We also have a Dr. Adrian Daisley, ambassador, Plenipotentiary of Barbados at the World Peace Climate Change Diplomatic Organization from Nigeria. We are welcome to Olga Shpak from Ukraine. She is a psychologist of the highest category, author in the field of psychology, and member of the Ukrainian and European Union of Psychotherapists. And we also have a volunteer of the Creative Society project from Germany, Ekaterina Krueger. Welcome, dear guests. We are so happy to have you here with us today. And of course, our first question we would like to ask today is, could you please share with us your feedback, your impression of this amazing event that happened on May 7th? Katerina, maybe we will start with you.
Hello, greetings, dear viewers. Hello from Germany. Lots of thanks for this opportunity to express my point of view on the International Forum, on the greatest event that has happened quite recently on the 7th of May this year. And I was participating in the preparation for the forum, and honestly speaking, I must confess that it was not easy at all for me to watch all those videos and photos, to listen to that information. But I knew that this forum was being prepared by the like-minded people, and they had been preparing this forum for a month, and it was all about, everyday calls, and lots of work has been done in order to prepare the international forum. And I know that these volunteers, they acted from the bottom of their hearts, and I just could not close my eyes or just ignore this information, although the information was really hard to accept, to perceive. But there is a good point in that, because the forum, the way out was voiced out, and this solution to many problems has been voiced to the whole world. And this is exactly what gives us this, strength to act. we know the way out of this difficult situation that we are living in. So lots of thanks to everyone who participated in preparation of the forum. And thank you, dear guests, that you are here with us today.
Thank you, Ekaterina, and really thank you to all the guests. And it's really very important to share it with others, and also, what you have said, that really a lot of people taken part in this preparation today, and of understanding of this importance. And the topics was really hard to hear, but it's important to talk about them. It's important to talk about the truth. And I have a question to Dr. Daisley. Can you please share why it's important to raise such topics?
I believe that it's important through a collaborative effort to share not only the love of the Creative Society, but also the practices and the principles of community development. We need to understand that the answers are within us, but we have to collaborate to find those answers together. And so it's a pleasure to watch, to have watched the conference, and what stood out to me more than anything else is how millions of people across the world just came together for an event that lasted for 24 hours. That I think, in my conversations with persons in Brazil, persons who've gotten a chance to actually participate, said to me, it touched them. It touched them where they were. And so to have a forum that actually addresses where people are at without having to cross borders through taking an airplane, for example, just through the internet, and reaching to people's homes and let them know that they're not alone. We're living in a time where we're having difficulties as a human species, and we need all the help that we can get.
Absolutely agree with you, Dr. Daisley. Our strength is in unity. And right now, it's the best time to unite. We have all possible tools to do that, and we have the right time, and we definitely need to use it. I would like to ask Olga, could you please share with us what impressed you the most about this event?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me for this international discussion. Thank you. And right, I watched this international forum for the whole 12 hours of live broadcast. Yeah, it means really huge work and preparation, because lots of people have been involved in that. So it just may not leave you indifferent. And the main point, which I got, is that we see all these, of course, eyewitness stories about cataclysm, and of course we were aware of them before the forum. And even today you can see that climate is really changing, and it is like everyday experience. And we are observing the military aggression that, for example, Ukraine has been in war for 80 days already, and climate just is also increasing. Yeah, it's activity. And as it was said, that all these so-called charity organizations, or the organizations that have to deal with issues of ecology or with poverty, in fact, all these organizations, they are acting on their own and kind of not united, and each of the organizations, right, should prove their excellent kind of position, and they're kind of asking people to pay attention exactly to this organization or something like that. Or even if you take the issue of just homelessness, or just a jobless situation, right? So, or like military aggression. So all these issues, they have actually the same root. We have to solve all these problems, or the root of these problems, also, right? And we have to express just understanding of the situation and express our understanding of the people. We do not have to fight against poverty or homelessness, right? But we have just to get all these people together and help them, and just all together. And of course, this is the way how the problems should be just solved in any society. The same way the issue should be solved with the climate disasters. Because again, if we fight against the problem, that then it can become stronger. But if we take a tickle issue, kind of bit by bit or step by step, if we kind of organize the system of communication, or we can use the, innovating technologies, as it's been voiced at the forum, that we can even produce flour from air, right? So then we can use the energy of these disasters for the benefit of the humanity, and not just treat these disasters as our enemy, right? So that is why I'm very happy today that today we're not just talking about this way out, about the creative society, but today we are stating that there are already just specific steps and techniques how we can build the creative society, how we can implement the principles of the creative society into all spheres of life, and not just right, we see that there is one root of all the problems, right? And the main point is that we cannot live as we used to live anymore, right? Because the forum lasted for 12 years. So for 12 years, the participants, the volunteers of creative society, they stated all the issues, and it's like, every we have that we can say that the system has its own schemes, right? And if we, for example, for 12 hours of the forum, we have stated all the critical issues of our today's society. So, of course, if today we start tackling these issues one by one, then we really do need just 7 days, to solve all the problems. If, of course, we start solving these problems as a whole humanity, just united. Thank you very much to all the participants of the forum.
I really like this plan.
That is exactly what it inspires a lot, that and this understanding that we just need to really understand the issue and just unite and start acting together. And also would like to ask our guest, can you please share your thoughts and feedback on this amazing event?
Yes, I'm sure. The greatest thing that came out of this event for me is the understanding of how united our goals are. Fundamentally, on a very fundamental human level, we want access to clean air. We want access to water. We want economic opportunities. We want a safe place to raise our children, a healthy environment for them, a comfortable shelter, and access to education. And the more and autonomy in society, and the more I speak to persons, the more I realize that we are all aligned. The conference only highlighted for us that we are all humans and we want to live.
That's true, and that's our goal, that truly can unite us all. And we also would like to ask a question. Huma, Kirmani, could you please share your thoughts and feedbacks on this amazing event?
Good morning. I think it's morning over there, but here in Pakistan, it's good evening. And I'm very much obliged for your kind invite. Creative society has proven that to solve the issue, to talk about the issue, we don't want any new silver bullets to tackle the situation. the best part of the creative society, that they are equally dispersing the awareness amongst the people with the help of the social media and working with the social impact on ways fighting back. Time is money, time is precious, but we should all realize that time is slipping away from our hands. There is no doubt the world must act now to avoid the ecological collapse. When I was asked that on which topic I would like to speak, definitely the heat wave that we all are being through currently, it made me to speak about this because the region where I'm living is Southeast Asia, and it is currently being announced in all over the world news channels that Pakistan and India are going to suffer through the worst heat waves ever in the history. The other part is that Pakistan has two, huge, vast desert areas. One is Cholistan and the other is Thar. And the people of Thar, they have been in the agony of this drought, this heat, and this, deprivation of the water availability. But somehow they are surviving. The women of Thar, they walk miles and miles to carry, the pots of water over their heads, and they bring it back to the village. Years back, I met a young gentleman who is also from Thar. He educated, and then he said that in his childhood, when he watched that his mother, his aunts, his grannies, they all just, used to keep the huge pots, and they walked miles to get the water from the river Indus. So he started working after getting an education that rainwater can be used as a potable water. But the dilemma is that, that good suggestions and good projects, they cannot be implemented in a country like us, where, the leadership has gotten some other, what I may say, they have got another interest. And I'm not ashamed to say this. I think if we'll just go through the social media, there is one worst disaster that has been going on in Cholistan. It's a deserted area in the Bawalpur, if you'll just go through the map. So you will come to know that there is one area which is near Bawalpur. The cattle are dying. The people, they are, longing for water. But, I'm sorry, my people are very hardworking. They are very honest. But when the leadership is not capable of focusing on how to resolve the problem, so you see that whatever is going on in Pakistan, all that. So unfortunately, the time is slipping away from our hands, and climate action is being undermined by some of the worst actors. That is what I have mentioned here. The rulers of the country, they're the bad heroes, the bad actors who are in the denial of who are deflecting, who are distracting. That what is the actual core problem in the country, isn't it? So that there are the reasons that when people they are going through deforestation, the awareness to grow plants to help the global, the global impact of decarbonizing the global economy. And I think that creative society is doing a great job dispersing the awareness amongst the people through social media, which is very, very strong nowadays. And it has turned the world into the global village, isn't it? I'm not a very good in all this technology. Somehow, with the help of you guys, I have come to know today that this is the way that I can improve the noise, improve the sound. This is the way that I can improve my picture. So this is something that you are affecting the world with the positivism, which is really the utmost requirement, isn't it? It is something that you are giving a positive social impact with your programs, with the conferences that you are scheduling now and then, and just making, just making the people to believe in that the problems can be resolved, isn't it? If there is a problem, it can be resolved, isn't it? So you are just dispersing the strength amongst the people that these ways can be fought back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words and for this understanding that exactly that people need to understand that all problems that we have in our world can be solved. And it's not just simple words. It's a solution that we have discussed during the whole forum, creative society format. We saw exactly how many issues, like in different perspective, in different branches, in different areas of our society we have right now. It's not only in the social issues, issues with climate situation, but it's also issues with existence of humans and people in poor countries. And it's sometimes really unbelievable that right now in 21st century, there are some issues that makes people die. That makes people die out of with lack of food because of hunger or with water shortages. And I would like to invite you to watch a video right now that will clearly show these issues. A video that was presented in the forum.
(2021) Haiti. Due to ongoing natural disasters, people were pushed to the brink of survival. An acute hunger gripped the whole country. When all animals and everything around, even the leaves on the trees, had been eaten, people began to eat sand and clay, trying to trick their stomachs. 2022 Yemen. The armed conflict that has been raging in the country for 8 years has led to a serious food crisis. As a result, 5.7 million people are experiencing acute hunger. 2.2 million of them are children. Hunger, the new reality. The modern world is a theater of the absurd. While on one side of the planet people die of hunger by the thousands every day, on the other side of the planet, more than 2.5 million tons of food are simply thrown away every day before it even reaches shop shelves. If we distributed this food to those who are undernourished, every needy person would get 3.5 kilograms of food a day. We still can afford to buy food and throw it away untouched. but that will change soon. During the pandemic period from 2020 to 2022, the prices of basic foodstuffs have increased by 45%. At the same time, the level of poverty around the world has also increased, even in developed countries such as the US and Europe. Many people are already experiencing it. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, more than 38 million people, including 12 million children, are food insecure in the United States. In Switzerland, 722,000 people were already below the poverty line in 2020. Heat or food, electricity or dinner, rent or food, which would you choose? In affluent countries, millions of people who face hunger make these difficult decisions every day. But this is just the beginning. The year 2022 brings new challenges for humanity. And now, even those organizations that were supposed to protect us from hunger and poverty claim that today the world is on the brink of a food catastrophe. In the modern consumerist format of our society, wars, pandemics, and economic crises are just another excuse to make money off us. It is a very profitable business which brings huge profits to a few, while the remaining 99% are hurtling towards the abyss of impoverishment. It is therefore naive to hope that anyone other than ourselves is really interested in seeing the situation improve. The events of 2022 have shown how much we all depend on each other. The consequences of one country's problems are sweeping the world. While we are fighting each other, imposing sanctions and food embargoes, the number of hungry people around the world is skyrocketing. Meanwhile, our planet is approaching ecological collapse. Pollution and drying up of water sources, erosion and soil degradation have made more and more land unsuitable for growing food. Extreme temperature fluctuations and shifting seasons have also contributed to that. Sharp frosts, heavy rains, or prolonged droughts lead to crop failures in entire regions. Meanwhile, it is estimated that by 2050 the world will need 50% more food to feed an expected population of 9 billion people. How will we be able to feed so many people under these difficult conditions? But these are only harbingers and the initial stage of climate change. Cataclysms are increasingly causing famine. Flash floods, hurricanes, and volcanic eruptions rapidly following each other not only make the soil unusable, it becomes impossible to live in these areas.
Now we are so desperate for food, water, and medicine. Even money won't help us, as there is absolutely nothing to buy on the island because everything is destroyed. Many of our fishing boats are badly damaged, and some people have tried to repair them to use for fishing. Now the only thing we drink is rainwater, and so many people are getting sick and suffering from dehydration.
Our world, which seems familiar and stable to us, fails in any difficult situation. We live in an illusion of security and close our eyes to what is happening in the distance. But we cannot escape inevitable climate change. A wave of cataclysms is inexorably rolling towards all countries and regions of the planet. In the years to come, every one of us will face famine, and the likes of Haiti, Yemen, and the Philippines will spread across the planet. This is the future that awaits us if we don't change anything. We can sit around and wait for someone to solve these problems, relying on international organizations, governments, and the powers that be. But when hunger comes to our home, no one will care about us. Everyone will be concerned only with their own survival. This is exactly the root of our consumerist format. We are all divided and everyone is for himself. And such an attitude towards each other will be our suicide in hard times. But everyone who has been through difficult situations knows that help and support come from ordinary people. It is possible to solve a seemingly unsolvable problem together. And in such situations, everyone understands how important simple human relations are, as well as the life of each person around you. We are so interconnected today that it is impossible to solve global problems alone. But together, being united, we can find that only way out for all. A way out that will allow all of us not only to survive in the future, but also to build a different world and a different society. A society where human life will be the main value, and where we will never allow hunger, poverty, or wars. That is the creative society.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Creative society is the only chance for all of us, because that's the only one model available right now that are able to not only to create a life condition for every single human on Earth suitable right now, but also is able to move our entire civilization to a new level of development. Because right now, what we just watched, what our previous speakers were talking about, the world is not friendly to the regular people, but we human and we have rights and we have power in our hands right now to fix this problem, right? And what we saw, that hunger, poverty, water shortage threatens everyone already. But what kind of measures we are taking right now? How we going with our resources? Are we using them constructively or are we wasting them? And are we developing the new technology that can help with the water shortage, with the food production that could help billions? Are we really developing and implementing them already? No, we're not, unfortunately not. And I know, Katerina, you care about this topic a lot, about the resources distribution and about where the fund goes. Could you please share your opinion about that?
Yes, thank you for the question. Really, I was touched by the information, by the facts that were voiced at the forum. Well, I live in quite, safe and well-being country in Germany, where the problems of water scarcity or food shortage, seem to be not kind of actual for our country. And many of our citizens, they believe that this is not about us, right, all these issues. But in fact, actually today, each third person on the planet has a water scarcity problem. And as well as many people today are just, have to use drinking, not quite drinking water, but water which is quite impossible to drink, right? And many people suffer dehydration, and that is why another work has been voiced that so much money today is being spent on wars, and even during the year of 2020 there was about $2 billion was spent on just killing each other in those wars. But if we just if we stop wasting money on wars, we stop investing the military budgets, but we invest this money into people's needs, into those, we invest that money into the countries which really lack water. So it's like we could help about 143 countries to solve this issue, right? So it's really uncomparable, all these military budgets and the budget for people's needs. And that is why I got this understanding that in today's consumerist format of society, it is impossible to solve these problems, and we aren't able to solve the hunger issue or to implement the just scientific technologies today that could give drinking water to people. And that is why I believe that building on the creative society is really very crucial topic today, and that is why I believe that we have great problems here, not just with water scarcity, but also with other issues of the society, right? Because Germany, can encounter these problems as well, because when you see that the population of the world is skyrocketing, and what we are actually destroying our nature, right? Thank you.
And for our generation to escape the claws of poverty, Kira, I think that we need to, get all groups involved in decision-making process, especially when it comes to having a say in things that determine our place in society. We can't discuss better in our world, even as a creative society, without talking about the prevalence of human inequality that pervades our world. Social, economic inequality is produced by disaster. And if we're talking about climate change, we can see how climate change will actually create the cycle of suffering. And through the cycle of suffering, we're going to have more people in poverty, because we're not just talking about persons who are affected by the disaster, but persons who don't have access to travel because they're inundated by weather, so they can't go to school. And so, when I deal with areas of the SDGs, for example, Sustainable Development Goals, and number 1, poverty alleviation, for example, I focus a lot on it because within the Caribbean context, you have a level of success depends on where you were born, and it kind of pushes you born in an environment where you are defeated at the very offset, and if you don't find a creative way to break the cycle, you have an entire generation that is lost because they don't have access to resources. And if you're not involved in sports, or if you don't become a big movie star, for example, then you can't break that cycle. And so what the Creative Society is really doing is a phenomenal job in not only bringing persons together to talk about solutions, but also bringing persons together to look at each other. Because I think that we don't see each other. Like in our forum, I can see you, you can see me. But without this forum, I probably would not have gotten the opportunity to meet Alexander or Marina or Keja or, my friend from India. And what it really shows is that we can no longer relegate responsibility to our government officials and say that they're going to help us. We have to become the change makers that we are looking for in our society. If you are in a geographical location and you start at a disadvantage, then you're going to have to leave your environment or connect with an organization or a group of people who are outside of that poverty line to pull you into a new reality or a new opportunity. And so the hard truth is that the inequality is likely to increase because of the disaster. So we should start talking about what are the mitigated processes that we can go through as a creative society to address issues of inequality, because inequality is also promulgated by laws or lack of laws thereof, and the power scale is getting larger and larger and larger. The select few still have more access to resources than developing countries. And by the term developing countries alone, we segregate people and separate them according to class and put them at a disadvantage. So obviously we still need to look at this classism structure. Even as we talk about the creative society, affecting the philosophy of our social economic system, we still need to ask ourselves, how can we have a consumerist prospect in our society at the same time think about human equality? That would be my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, you raised very good questions. So and then people should really actually sit and look at the situation that we are living right now and just ask them a question: can we continue live in such a format? Because really today, millions of people suffer from different problems, exactly from military conflicts. And wars have taken the lives of civilians, destroyed countries, economies. And as a result, millions of people are already below the poverty line. And, thousands of people are starving to death every day. And this is at the time when we can provide a decent life for everyone. But instead, we put our scientific potential into developing weapons. And I would like to ask Mrs. Olga Shpak, do you think that there is a future for this format of society? And what do you think that each person needs to realize in order to take action to make the transition to a creative society?
I was just going to talk about this because informing is basically very nice, but in fact, the life itself informs us, because those who are not informed about the global cataclysms in other regions, for example, such people experience these losses and sufferings on their own, in their own lives, on their skin, so to say. So it's not about informing, but it's about knowing. A person always does what he knows, and when we look around, you cannot just talk about what you think, but I will see and look at what you do, and judge. We should judge by the deeds, as it is said. So it is said that the world is not friendly towards us, but we can say that the world is our mirror. If the world reacts in such a way to today, like, pardon me for such a comparison, but when you have some parasites in your hair, the person's when person has parasites in his hair, he starts fighting them. So here right now on planet Earth, we have parasites. These are insects which bite the planet, and it always wants to fight those parasites, meaning us. So according to our deeds, that's the problems we have. So we have to study a different side of our life. We are accustomed to sitting and waiting until some smart guy comes and does something for us because he's intelligent, he will do it for us. And from where will we take this initiative? Either such a savior will come, and this Cartman's triangle, which is becoming very popular, that there is a tyrant, a victim, a persecutor who's attacking, and who is the tyrant is another question. But again, we can say who is making friends against whom. For example, a person can have disease, or he can face a natural disaster, or some opposite person comes and attacks with a gun and it's murder. So basically, that's the consequences. We have to study all these things, and we have to take initiative and understand that we already come to the point that we have to take care of each other and our planet, so that this format of creative society will become not just valid in words, but in real deeds, so that by our deeds, we will be assigned with a totally different situation. We come to this life for the sake of life. We come to this world for the sake of peace, and no one teaches us. The only format we have to learn the world and to learn our life is to put on to survive through some problems. Whoever goes various problems is more adapted to life. So we have to disclose, unfold this system of knowledge from the very childhood. There is love, and there are 6 points of love. One of them is knowledge. When we open up our soul, when we open up our heart, when we follow our psychology and unfold our personality and study the world through the language of love, thanks to the language of love, we come to a creative society as a norm of our existence. It's not that I believe, but I'm following the way of knowledge, and I would like this knowledge to be plenty, not more, but plenty, and it would be everywhere, so that each of us would be unfolded with this knowledge, not just to inform that there is a trouble, guys. Everyone has a trouble today, but now let's talk about how we should do this. We can provide knowledge in 2 formats. Number one is how to live in this trouble, for example, without water, without food, under some burning sun. And the second option is, and what we should give knowledge about, is how to live without poverty, how to live in prosperity, how to live in abundance, how to live in happiness, in love. And that's what we should talk about. Not we should teach people, we should provide people with an opportunity to recall through their own experience, through his inner states, to feel these conditions of prosperity, love, and happiness. And we should direct all funds and efforts on developing this. No, efforts is not the word, but maybe all our actions and constructive result in contributions should be made into teaching, into education, into helping. And this should be, I don't like such the word free of charge, but like a gift. It should be like a gift. A person should be granted with certain things and certain knowledge by the right of birth. The first 50 years of life, a person has to learn and discover himself or herself. But unfortunately, we spend those 50 years of our life by knocking on the wall of ignorance, and people have to die because they have to fight for existence. And there are a number of experts who say that we claim your money, come here, bring us your money, and we'll teach you. But when will a person implement this knowledge? Because he will have to go again to some master class for some experts. So we have to teach people from the very childhood, to teach mothers before pregnancy and before delivery, and then to teach children throughout life. And at least the first 50 years of life, a person should gain power and strength to rise and to have an opportunity to come out to people with the luggage of knowledge and experience and skills which he or she has unfolded in themselves. That's about knowledge more. Thank you.
I would like to live in such a world where you can really focus on discovering your inner potential, on having time to really looking inside of you and really find who you truly are, instead of constantly fighting in order to provide bread to your family. and hopefully not being trapped in the war zone and like fighting for survival. And definitely that's our goal right now, to really to get this information to every single person on earth, that the new format is possible. And it's very easy, but it starts, as you said, I really, really like it, starts with the understanding and realizing of our personal responsibility. We simply need to grow up and stop waiting for somebody who can come and fix all of our problems. No, we don't have to continue live with this illusion. Nobody will do that. We already see very, very clear that if somebody is coming, this person is coming only to take our money or, unfortunately, our lives. So,
I was going to say great submission from both of you guys, because when I think about it, we moved so far away from what being human is, and we don't love, we don't reach out. But I want to give other persons the opportunity to submit at this time.
Yes. Olga, your internet is bad right now. Would you like to add something?
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, a person has to pay with money for this ignorance so as not to plunge into one's own sensations, feelings, fears. A person has to earn this bread and then run to another expert to give away money in order to work through fears and other problems. If we had this system of mutual cultivation, I wouldn't say when it's mutual assistance. It's not that we have to help each other, but we need to nourish each other. During the first 50 years of life, a person has to use them for growing, for maturing, and after that, destiny gives you such an exit into the world among people, so that you would be helping in maturation of other people. That's about society, about family, and about a person himself, because every year, every person works through various qualities of his own. There is a whole year when a person works with the body, so that the body reacts to certain things and passes through all impressions, all the thoughts that is generated. And also there is a time for working with feelings. You have to draw them down, you have to think, think about them, to dance those feelings, and you have to let them out. And you have to work on that. Of course, if a person is protected by his parents and the whole government and state system, a child can develop in all that and choose the language in which he speaks to the world. After that, a person can go to socialize and monetize funds, monetize his skills, because he will already have a knowledge how to cope with people, how to cope with money, how to deal with nature, because he already has such an experience.
No, Olga, you talk about creative society. I'm listening to you, and I understand that here it is. It's exactly how it will look like. Basically, all the spheres will change. Educational, medicine, arts, and everything will change, because transformation will take place. If before that we were serving for someone to gain money, right now everything will be different, and it will be for a human. We won't need to work so much. We'll be able to relax and give enough time to our children to educate them, and everything will be so smooth that a child will be able to develop like a flower. You just need to let him grow, and he flourishes, and he becomes a part of society.
By the laws of nature, we are inherent to work. We are supposed to work just 4 hours a day. When we build such a system, within 4 hours, if we really work 4 hours, not just walk around in between offices, not just have empty talks, but you go to your job, you call to some people you need, you fill in some documents, then you repeat. I guess 4 hours is more than enough every day, right? And then you spend your entire day, you can spend this time on kids, on family, on yourself. You can go out to the pool, you can do yoga, running, jogging. You can find how to spend those 20 times a day in addition to work, and to prepare, of course, for the next day, for the next working hours. Just 4 hours a day, that's the tradition our ancestors gave to us. When in past life, we spent in past ages and centuries, our ancestors used to live according to seasons and the cycle of the sun. They actually worked 1.5 months in spring and 1.5 months in autumn. If we split this useful and beneficial for us when we do something, but for that we need this mental, emotional and spiritual resource, and it's very beneficial for an employer to invest in that.
I really like your 1 by 1 equals 11. That's absolutely right. How we can, what kind of result we will get when we unite our potential. And that's why creative society is absolutely possible, because when we really unite around this idea, we will do everything possible in order to implement it as soon as possible in every single part of the world. Because we understand clearly consumerist format is not friendly to us, and we need to change it. Because this format aims only to make money at any cost. Even if the human life is the cost of profit, we don't care. We pursue the profit, and that's the most precious thing in our society right now. But as we all agree, human life should go first. Human life should be the highest value. And I would like to ask Huma, Kirmani, what do you think about importance of sharing the information about the creative society with everybody on Earth?
I was listening to my fellows, and the gentleman who is from Nigeria. Let me tell you one thing, that I'm from Pakistan, okay? And India is just our neighborhood country. Anyway, if you are asking me that how to disperse awareness or sharing the role of creative society in this, into this era where human life is the cheapest, whereas the other prospects are higher than the lives of the people. When I was watching the video that you had shared, really it had brought tears into my eyes. And I think for decades, the condition of Yemen is almost the same, and there is no change in the lives of the people who are living in Yemen. First thing is that how to make people realize the impact of the creative society. We should go through the perspective of global solidarity and the climatic crisis, and what is the new deal of this green global, the catastrophe that's going around, the sweeping inquiry which is required to change the world. One thing that there is a question, does this, the chaos, or does this disaster is somewhere directly or indirectly related to capitalism, which is very important. I was listening to my friend who is from Germany, and she said that we need to give 4 hours to our children, or that she was saying that we need to take care of our children, that they are like flowers, no doubt. Every child is a flower of one's home, of one's eye. But unfortunately, how the capitalism is affecting the world, how the capitalism is affecting the lives of the children on the other side of the picture, like the people, the children of Yemen, the children of Palestine, wherever the war is going on, wherever there is a fight related to the phenomena of superiority complex is related, isn't it? So there is a blockage, there is a hindrance in making the minds creative to build up a creative society. When any one of us will become the victim of narcissism, so we stop thinking about the others, isn't it? For instance, I can say I'm the best, and I condemn every person, civil rights, I condemn all the equality, I condemn all the the equality matters related to the religion or the racism. And one thing more that is really just ingesting the society is to bully around, isn't it? If somewhere, out of blues, a country has started bombing or started the bombardment on another country without any reason, the people who are lying in the deep state, they don't know that why their country has been attacked by the other person. So somehow, we are living in the trinity of capitalism, green inquiry, investment, and social solidarity. And I may appreciate creative society to maintain a real social solidarity to resolve the problems that we are going through. As far as the global warming is taken to the existing institution of capitalism, that you cannot, now the time has come where we cannot change ecological disruption to economical disruption because of the war, because of the things which are going around, unfortunately, not relevant to the time scale. On the other hand, we need to resolve the things when we set the certain parameters, isn't it? The human society is somehow, it's going to happen then when we say that we are living in a very, ideological state. For that, we need to work in it, as I've said, in the particular parameters, but it takes time. It might take a decade, but it might, God forbids not, for a century. The best thing about the human mind is this, that we are very good enough in assuming the situation. And currently, what we are doing, that we are just setting the assumptions, isn't it? Okay, like in the video it is being said that we are going to have the worst times because of the floods and the heat wave and all that. So humans are capable to look beyond the present, isn't it? This is, I think, the best capability that has been given to each human from Almighty, from God. Whenever we talk about the global crisis, we always look back at the two giant world wars, World War I, World War II. But why World War II is so important to discuss for the from the time when it happened, because in that war, in World War II, the nuclear era was started when the nuclear bomb was, dropped down on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and that still in 2022, the atomic, the effects of that bomb is just affecting the newly born children as well. So, the lady in the blue, I don't remember that. I think Olga said that if we'll wait for someone to come and help us out, so that that your enemy does not have any face, isn't it? And the world has witnessed the evident existence of colonial system, which almost destroyed the geological, geographical, economical, ecological index of the world, isn't it? Because before World War II, there was, the strong colonial system throughout the world, isn't it? Even the country where I'm living, we were a colony, isn't it? But after World War II, the colonial system just moved back. But somehow, what I feel, this is my personal perspective, that though there is no colonial system right now, but there is an unseen colonial system which is hovering over the hearts of the countries in the third world, where the poverty is below the level, where the people are not having the food, where people are not having the proper jobs. That after watching the video that you had shown related to Yemen and Haiti, you see that when the people, they are crying, even in a country which is being, so-called as a superpower, the countries which are having the veto power in the United Nations, if there is the enhancement in the poverty level, just think about the countries who are just living for ages below the poverty level. It's something that I really appreciate the efforts that you all are putting voluntarily, the creative society, to aware the people that the things can be resolved. We should stop fighting with each other. First thing is this: when we talk about sympathy, I think that empathy is far above than sympathy. When one starts feeling in someone's shoes, isn't it? Though I can feel that, okay, what is the pain? I was literally in tears after watching that video in Yemen. Years back, I had written an article on this, but still the war is going on there, the war which is going on in Ukraine, and the attacks on and off in the controversial area of Israel and Palestine as well. You see that there, I think we have lost our self-respect. When we have lost our self-respect, then we cannot respect the person who is in front of us. So I think you are doing a great job, Creative Society. You are doing a marvelous job, isn't it, to educate the people that how to be more careful related to the prospect of the global solidarity to the climate change, isn't it? So these are the things that you are commendable. You're doing a commendable job, and life is so short. When we say that world is so small, you see that sometimes you meet the people whom you have not been in touch for decades. So when you see that world is small, just think about that lifespan is also smaller than this world, isn't it?
Yes, it's so fragile.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes. You never know, isn't it? My mother used to say one thing, that who knows that you cannot exhale the breath and you die. You cannot inhale the breath and you die. So you see that this is something alarming, isn't it? I think that I'm not scared.
I also like how you said that we need to cherish every single human life. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter your nationalities, and we need to like stop being selfish and narcissist and thinking only about your superiority. We need to really think about every single human, every single child on earth that like suffering right now, and we need to create a condition that all people can really fulfill their inner potential and don't have to be worried. I cannot imagine the world where you have constantly be worried about the next hour, the next minute. And I really don't want to have this experience in my life. And like I feel so sorry to all the mothers, all the kids that right now affected in the war zone. And we definitely right now have a privilege, live in a society in which we still can do something in our, so like it's our bubbles. We don't know when they will pop. But since we still have a peaceful sky above us, since we still have a resource, electricity, we have water supply, we can do. And we can do a lot, but we really need to unite all our potential and direct it towards the creating condition in our society where war, violence will be not acceptable.
Yes, I have written few lines related to the catastrophe of the after seeing that there is, atrocities going around the world. I said that speaking for the rights of the people might be political, might sound that I am biased, isn't it? But coffins are apolitical. Coffins are not biased. Whoever has died, isn't it, and is just going to leave the world, leave the life, isn't it? It's all apolitical. It's not something like this that I'm with a certain group of people. It's something that I'm with the human beings, whoever they are, whatever the religion, whatever the race is, isn't it? If speaking about the rights of the people who are going through the worst dilemma, the worst tragedy in their lives, if it's political, then just remember that coffins are apolitical. Whoever,
and do you know, and also in our society is also a cheaper. And sometimes, like, why we're not investing in preventing of climate disasters? Because it's just like very expensive. It's expensive to create a system that will alarm people in advance. It's expensive to invest in research that will really study the reason why we have a tornado or different types of natural disaster. But it's much
I remember that.
To send later coffins to the region where a massive amount of people were dying.
Right.
Yes, and I remember that we have also have this comment from one of our previous conference when people who were responsible for some region said it directly, what just Marina said, that coffins are just cheaper. And I also would like to thank you, Mrs. Kirmani, for everything that you said, especially with these examples about war, about this nuclear weapon. And, in a consumerist format, only few people decide for the life of millions. And that should not be the case. Because, when we take in our hands what, as a society, we decide, we should decide how to help other people. Not few decide whether some countries or some people who are innocent, who are did not nothing bad, live or not, but we should be active. And being active right now is very simple. You just need to start talking about creative society, talking about solution. And I would like to ask our guest, Dr. Daisley, can you please share more about your contribution, your taking part, because we know that you are informational partner of Creative Society of the forum, and how you shared and how you take action in order to spread the message about Creative Society.
Throughout the process of Creative Societies, one of the things that I realized is that we needed to have more bandwidth in expansion information. So I would have launched a podcast to talk about issues that affect us on a global scale, inviting experts to speak on different solutions on our podcast. The other thing is that we looked at is how can I partner with other people, because the biggest thing that comes out in our society through education, young people go to school, they get an education to get money. If we're going to change this society and become less consumer driven, then we need to what we receive from education shouldn't only just be remuneration for education. So you get educated, so you get money. Maybe we need to start looking at social remuneration within the context of the educational system. And the other thing is, it's just a pleasure to be here, just to share the platform with all you great minds across the world, and to have the privilege to be able to speak to our friends in other countries, and to just let them know that they're not alone, and that it isn't just what the Creative Society is doing for people, but is what the Creative Society is doing with people, because the Creative Society is the people, and it's a living organism for me. When I got in touch with the Creative Society, which happened quite last year, through Ambassador Dr. Iuna. And one of the things that came out to me is the importance of understanding that our world needs what we do, and I don't have to jump on every single network to talk about it, but I need to find strategic networks, strategic groups that are aligned to the same principles that the Creative Society and we are. And so, for me, I just want to express thanks on behalf of the World Peace Climate Change Diplomatic Organization and our president, who has graciously allowed me to represent the organization on the Creative Society platform today. And of course, our very own Prime Minister Mia Motley here in Barbados. So thank you so very much for the opportunity to participate, to collaborate, and to share. And everything that we do matters. Thank you.
Really, thank you so much, and thank you. I would like also to thank all the people who take part and take their time in order to, with understanding the importance of all the problems, they talk about Creative Society, and they make their contribution as much as they can. Share information with their friends via social networks, start talking to people who they don't know. I don't know, like in driving a taxi, just coming to a friend and do not discuss some news that, for example, we have heard of the world. They start discussing how we can build greater society, and it's so great to understand that we have such wonderful neighbors on our planet who are taking actions in order to provide this solution to other people. Because when you start talking, you don't think about yourself. You think, understand the issues of others. You share your deep understanding with others. So I would like to thank our dear guests. So we really appreciate it.
Can I say something? You have said a very, the best line, that few people How could they decide the fate of the millions of people? And this is what is happening. That there is a distortion in keeping the justice, in keeping the equality. I really like it that why there is a chaos, why there is disruption in the peaceful journey of life because of this. That few people, they decide the fate of the millions of the people. And I'm also very thankful to you and to the Creative Society. Keep it up. You guys are young, energetic, and you all are doing a great job. I'm pretty grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And maybe also, since we're already closing up our discussion, maybe some of you would like to add something too, briefly.
If I can speak, it seems to me that right now it's really logical to remember our previous experience when 1992 in Libyan war, there was such a scientific experiment that when people were gathered and they learned them how to create a world and they sent them to these war zones, they didn't profit, they just work on themselves, on their inner world, on the fact that this world already exists, and the fact that the world, it's a state. This is what surrounds you. There is such Vyacheslav Polunin. He once a time he made such a rule of 3 meters. I cannot make happy all people, but I can make happy people who is around me in 3 meters surrounds me. At least I can try to do that. So these 3 meters, each of us can implement on your own place, and you can do it from your inner state by multiplying the world which is inside you. You can multiply it by 3 meters, and in this way it can go from one person to another, and it will eventually, the goodness will prevail. So how important it is right now to put your intention into this peaceful state. Yes, we have many problems. Each of us has many things to do, and each of us, each person matters because God has only our hands, and He has only our mouth. And in this experiment, which was conducted back then, there was a critical mass, this number, when certain percentage of people will eventually change the situation in the world. So how important it is today to actually create this critical mass, to create this number, so this point of no return would be passed, and it would be only grown exponentially. So we should only multiply it. Thank you so much. I'm happy to see you all. Happy to talk to you.
Спасибо большое. Я бы тоже хотела замечательные слова. Просто очень радостно.
Thank you very much. I would also like to join these wonderful words. It was so nice to hear Olga and others. I would like to address all people who are watching us right now with a request. It's not difficult. We all have a phone today. We have such a gadget, a computer. Please just share this information, because creative society is the society where people are happy, where people have time, where all children have enough food, they are satiated, and people resolve their destinies on their own. They make decisions on their own. People take responsibility, and what we are doing today determines and shapes our future. So if you have some time, please share this information. Thank you very much. Creative society is our saving ring, saving belt for all humanity.
And that's exactly the right words, that we just need to start acting. Forget about any fears of talking to someone, explaining, because we are talking about something that really concerns everyone. And as I said at the beginning, it's concern the whole society, concern our kids, our common kids, because there are no child that it's children are, it's the whole civilization children. And when we understand the pain of others, then we start acting. And I would like to really, again, appreciate and say thank you for our guests for taking time to participate in this enriching discussion. And really, your participation is really important and truly valuable. And I would also like to ask our dear viewers, so if the information you heard today matters to you, and you really would like to contribute to the greater good of all humanity, please take action immediately. The information that you heard today during international discussion, or it was voiced by our respected speakers from all parts of the world during the forum, Global Crisis, Where People We Want to Live, it has to be heard by every human being on the planet Earth. So please share it with others. It is very simple to do that. Post it in your social network, send it to your friends. The world must hear the truth. Thank you.
And once again, I would like to thank everyone who has participated in the preparation of this international discussion and broadcast of forum. And we are so grateful to all our guests for sharing with us your understanding, your wisdom. That's very, very, very valuable to all of us. And dear viewers, if you watch the international forum Where People We Want to Live and would like to participate in our next international discussion session, so please reach out to us at info@creativesociety.com. We would be happy to invite you as our next guest. Thank you so much for being with us today. See you next time.